my gosh, guys, it's so early. It's still dark out. It's a huge holiday week. I'm coming a little bit early, but it'll be there for everybody at 6:45 this morning. So it's a little bit early. I can't think of a better way to start my day anyway, but I'm just glad those of you that did get up early, or maybe you're on the East Coast and this works a little bit better for you. Maybe you're in Europe and this works even better. But the first thing we want to do is just get a little bit of blood flow going. So no matter what part of your day you're in, we just always want to work through a full body scan. The other thing I want to work on today is just really lengthening some posture, and then we'll get into some movement. So that's kind of what we're going to do. So just sitting in a nice relaxed position, we just want to go ahead and flex and extend the toes. So just flex the toes, extend the toes, flex the toes, extend the toes. This was always part of my rehab for broken ankles, multiple of them. But the biggest thing is now we're going to go right side, then left side, is just getting that movement all the way from the brain, the central governor, which I believe in. I'm a buy-in on that. And we just want to make sure that the feet are working really, really well. Good? That looks good. So now let's grab your foam roller. Just put it on the low part of the leg so that the lower part of the leg is just elevated a wee bit. And we're just going to flex and extend the entire ankle and then flex the ankle. Now, when you flex the ankle towards you like that, that's called dorsiflexion. I want you to bring your toes, your pinky toes up and in, up and out. And that's going to put the big toe down and in. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and extend the feet, flex the feet, and evert the feet. So the toes, the little toe is higher than the big toe. Extend and flex. Extend and flex. Extend and flex. Okay, let's give the ankles just a moment. Try this one. I'm not great at it, but see if you can just spread your toes. Spread the toes. And see if you can get them just apart. It's a really good thing if you can. Okay, spread the toes. Good. Spread them again. Good. Okay, so now let's work inversion, touch the feet together, and then eversion. Inversion, eversion. And we're just going to go bottoms of the feet, touch each other, and then we go into that other movement. It's called eversion, where the big toe comes down, pinky toe comes higher. We're just working there through that whole body. Okay? So let's go back. Flex the toes, extend the toes. Flex the toes, extend the toes. Flex the toes, extend the toes. Okay, next one, spread the toes. Spread them out. I seem to want to also externally rotate the toes when I do that one too. Okay, now invert and evert. In and out. Seem to want to move my head when I do that as well. Okay, just the feet. Good. All right, in that time that you've had your foam roller on the lower part of the calf, let's just do a little bit of dragging the skin under the calf muscle. Just nice and easy. Just get a little bit of heat through the lower leg. Good. Let's have a seat on the foam roller and just take that right. We're going to go onto the right glute first, so right hand on the ground. We're just going to work like a massage therapist here, just working through it. We're not trying to solve any big problems here. We're just moving the tissue with a little bit of our body weight, which creates a little bit of the upregulation of that nervous system, which is, it can be good. Some people think it's too much, but if it's too much, it's too much, you know? So some people just live in that heightened state. They're like an elastic band that could snap at any moment. If you're one of those people, you might not want to do as much foam rolling, because it might actually put you way too much on alert, right? Does that make sense? Take that right to your nice, easy massage glute. Good. Next one, never want to lose focus of the lat. So we're just going to go thumb up on that bottom leg or bottom arm, and we're dragging. First things first, we drag the skin across the rib cage. Drag the skin across the rib cage. And we just want to make sure everything's gliding. So this is part of our full body scan here. And good. Oh, and then we'll just hit the other side. Bottom arm is extended, thumb is up, drag the skin across the rib cage. And then good. Now while we're here, it's always good to start the day with the spine moving. And if you're midway through your day because you're in the UK or in Europe, if you're in Australia, you're probably still sleeping. Is that right? I think so. So just know that no matter what time of day, you always want to make sure that your thoracic spine can do this. Just nice and easy. This is movement through the spine, a little bit of support from the foam roller that allows us to move around nice and easy. Good. And good. Let's move up just a little bit. I feel like I can get a little bit more motion. The thoracic spine is everything that the ribs attach to. So once you start getting down below that, you get into the lumbar spine, and it's really not built to extend and flex using the foam roller like this. So please don't try to do that. The lumbar spine, the movement that it's good at is just a little bit. Just enough. And you always want to tell your friends, you're enough. And the lumbar spine, the nicest thing we can do to it is just make sure that the hips move really well and that the T-spine, the thoracic spine, moves really well so that the lumbar spine can just do its job and be this anchor of stability midway through the body, and how the upper body and the lower body connect to each other. So let's show just a little bit of love to that lumbar spine. The movement there is subtle. So all we're going to do is just lay on the back, feet pretty much directly under the knees, and just lift the pubic bone so that the hip bones are flat. Now when I do that, I get a little bit of upregulation or activation of the adductors, the inner thigh. It doesn't mean everybody will, but it's what I notice, right? So when my hips go flat and I'm into neutral pelvis, my adductors turn on. And that'll tell me that I need more time in neutral pelvis, because you should be able to relax in neutral pelvis, okay? So that's the message of my day right now, is probably going to spend a little bit of time foam rolling the adductors. I won't put you through it, but that's what you would notice. I want them to relax. So we're just going to move a little bit through that. So let's get into neutral pelvis, and we're just going to lift one leg and extend it up. We're working through that flossing movement. And we're just going to keep neutral pelvis, keep flat back, and we're just moving through the hamstring. Good. Good. So the reason that I would foam roll an upregulated muscle when I go into neutral, I know that I haven't done a lot of work to really fatigue specifically the adductors. I would say that they have been they're just overactive and they're turning on. I want to make sure that they're not tight. So I'm going to spend just a little bit time being less than 2 minutes, and I'm just going to gently use the foam roller. And most of you that spend time with me know that I'm pretty gentle with things to begin with. You can never really force the body to do really anything. Okay, well, without risk. Okay, from right here, let's go ahead and stay in flat hips, and then we're going to take the pelvis, drop the pubic bone, and create space under the low back. So we're getting a little bit of extension through the spine, and then we're going to pull the pubic bone back up, and we go into a little bit of flexion of the spine, and we get back to that neutral pelvis. So now we're just going to toggle through that. See if I can just kind of pull my shirt in a little bit here and you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I can get my whole hand underneath my back. So neutral, and then anterior tilt. Neutral, anterior tilt. And I want you to be able to move. This is moving the lumbar spine in a really, really safe way. Good. Drop the pubic bone. Lift the pubic bone. Drop the pubic bone and you feel pointy hips. Pointy hips, anterior tilt in the pelvis. Flat hips, neutral pelvis. Pointy hips, anterior, right back and forth. Never forget that. That's a really good positional landmark of how the body is positioning itself. What we don't want is to get stuck in anterior. So if you do spend a lot of time running and riding your bike, you're probably spending a lot of time here. So you want to make sure you get back into neutral whenever you can. So let's just take that right foot onto the left knee. And again, we're going to be dynamic with this. So we're not going to hold a stretch from the figure four. We're just going to lift and bring it back. You want to try to keep your low back on the ground when you do this. 3. So you want to stay in neutral pelvis. 4 and 5. And then we'll just switch to the other side. Left leg, left foot on right knee. Try and maintain neutral pelvis. 2, just 5. We'll do it twice. 3, 4, and 5. Go back to the other side, right foot, left knee. Now let's start to work a little bit of decompression breathing. No, I'm going to come back to decompression breathing. So just let's go 5 and 5, and then we're going to go into some breath. Here we go. 1, 2. Just starting to create, and my stomach is starting to talk to me a little bit. That like, hey, what about me? What about you? We'll deal with you in just a second. Okay, left foot. Because it's starting to happen, right? The whole body's starting to wake up a little bit. I'm not going to lie, but I think it was 30 minutes ago I was sound asleep. 2 more. Good. And good. All right. 1 more time. Feet parallel and coming straight out of the hips. Make sure you're not too wide with your feet. And we're just going to toggle through the pelvis. This is just a great way to start the day. Get your body moving. It's also a great way to end your day, because then when you wake up in the morning, you're already going to be in better shape because you went to bed in better shape. Okay, from right here, we're going to start a breath pattern using the diaphragm. Obviously, that is our muscle of respiration, the primary mover that creates space in the rib cage that allows the lungs to expand within the rib cage. And as you inhale, the diaphragm drops. And as the diaphragm drops, we're going to get intra-abdominal pressure. There's 2 ways to deal with that. You can deal with that in a relaxed way with belly breathing, or you can react to that in a more intense way that will bring your nervous system up a little bit, called decompression breathing. So the first thing we're going to do is put the left hand on the belly and the right hand on the rib cage. And as you inhale, I want you to go into an anterior tilt of the pelvis. So there's a little bit of arch in the back. Fill the lungs with air. Expand the rib cage. And allow the belly to rise, and it comes up in response to the diaphragm creating that pressure. And as you exhale, you bring the spine back. Inhale, arch the spine, expand the belly, expand the chest. Exhale. Inhale. Drop the pubic bone. Create space. Exhale. We're going to go 3 more big breaths. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more. Good. Now let's go into decompression breathing from foundation training. So knees together, toes together, heels apart. Here we bring in the internal rotation of the hips, and we actually have a little bit of adductor activation. And from here, toes together, and we're dorsiflex, so we're pulling the toes back towards the shins. From here, we're going to pull the ribs way off the hips. Now when we inhale, we're going to draw into the belly, not allow the belly to expand. So the pressure is even greater in there. That supports the lumbar spine. So if you have any low back problems, this should be a central understanding of how to do this. All right, so thumbs on the bottom rib, pinkies on the hip bones. Big inhale. This time you're drawing the belly in, super skinny, and exhale. And we allow the lower body to stay in its anchor, so we're no longer toggling through the pelvis. Ready? We're going to go 5 big breaths. Inhale. Draw in the belly button into the spine. One more big breath. And good. Okay, so let's take it up onto the half kneeling position. And from right here, we're going to take that knee out to about 230 on the one side. So here would be midnight down the middle. Just taking it out to the side. Take a big breath, a little bit of decompression breath. So that means there is tightness through the belly, not the relaxation of the belly breathing, okay? So nice and strong, pull up and decompress nice and high as we drive the right knee over the right toe. And I talked a little bit earlier about my tightness in the adductors. Definitely feeling that. It's probably from my bike ride on Saturday, which I did a little bit of mobility yesterday, but probably could have stood a little bit more. So just some gentle mobility through this, probably the best choice for me. 8. You always want to notice your head position as well. If you start dropping your head, your spine is by default going to go into flexion. If you want to have that nice crisp posture, which most of us do, keep your eyes up on the horizon, keep your chin back, and just a nice strong stacked head position. Okay, left knee over left toe, just nice and easy. 2, 3. Hey, if anybody did get up early this morning, thank you. I appreciate it. Sometimes mobility is just a little bit more fun when you do it with somebody. But either way, enjoy the session. Good. 8, 9, and 10, and good. Okay, so let's go. How do I want to do that? Let's go up into wide stance, heels outside of toes. That puts the hips into internal rotation. And all we're going to do is just some nice easy gliding. The first thing we're going to do here is go into that founder. So softness in the knees, hip hinge, counterbalance with the hands, okay? So I want to start to upregulate the posterior chain, the back side of the body. So we're just going to sit the hips back behind the heels, push the hands out front. We're not going for end range. We're just going through this beautiful, easy movement. 2, starting to load the glutes up. 3, start to bring the hamstrings into the game. 4, in a really active, organized way. 5, we're going to go 10 of these. 6, so this is just 10 gentle founders. 7, 8, you notice the elbows are low, nice and relaxed. 9, and 10. So that's our hip hinge, and we're just, more than anything, we're trying to get the body ready to move, right? Nice and wide here. And all we're doing now is just push the hips back, work that same hinge, but now we're working that back hip into internal rotation into the midline, so the shoulder's just showing you that this hip, this left hip, is coming in, right, left, and as you stack to a side, we'll call that the stack. As you stack, you got to keep this knee in. You don't want it to start flowing out, right? Want it stacked and in so that the hips are balanced. In, Ankles starting to feel it as well, which is great because we want mobile ankles, strong ankles. Strength will give you movement. Strength will keep that movement going. All right, last thing we want to do is just open the hips to the back. Open the front side of the hip. We'll get a little bit of activation in the back side of the hip and then just come back. So we're going to do that with a lunge to the back. Feet become perpendicular and just come straight back to the front. Lunge to the back. Load all the weight on the back leg. Keep the back knee in. Good. Good. And there's a lot to be said for this movement as it comes back together as well, because this is where we want to kind of live in internal rotation. Gravity and ground pulling us into external rotation. Let's go ahead and hit the other side. Just nice, easy step to the back. 2, woo. That's why I put that wall there. 3. Adductor getting some nice length here. 4. 5. We should go to 8. 6. 7. And 8. All right, you guys, it's July. You know what July is? It's the official countdown to the Olympic Games in 2024. 1st of July. That means we've got just a few short weeks until the Olympics start in Paris. It's been a blast watching the American Olympic trials. I know that countries all over the world are starting to get excited about the Olympics. We're definitely going to celebrate that together. Hope you have an amazing day. Thanks if you came early. If you're here at 6:45, like our regular start time. Sorry I missed you live, but have a good session.